Dear human being, beloved soul, I welcome you to my podcast series, Conversations with the Universe. After a near-death experience, my perception of our human existence changed profoundly. I became more sensitive, with all our known senses. I feel more intensely, see people with different eyes, and often take a different perspective on life and our challenges. In my books, I share these altered perspectives and all the knowledge that has flowed through me since my near death and thus record it. For all those who are searching for something more, for the meaning of our existence here on Mother Earth. And it is now a great pleasure for me to share this knowledge with you in this way as a supplement to my books. This season I am dedicating myself to my very first work, the basics of being. I wish you many wonderful insights on your path. Thank you. Love.
You have already learned in various ways that the cosmos consists of energy. We all learned in school that there are resistances that can be used to regulate energy. In any case, resistance is what flowing energy reacts to. In a world of energy, this applies everywhere due to the law of correspondence. As above, so below, as below, so above. But it always manifests itself in a different way. As you know, energies move much faster in the subtle planes than in the gross planes. In the high vibrational frequency planes, energy is therefore unimpeded and encounters less resistance than in our dense material form. Thus, this law is stronger and more intense here than in the higher frequency ranges. I call it the law of resistance. It is an inevitable part of the law of the flow of life. When I explained the flow of life to you, I repeatedly mentioned rapids, waterfalls, mountains, and rocks. Every resistance you encounter is like a rock, a rapid, a mountain, or a waterfall. Whenever your being reaches such a point, it is called upon to decide, yes or no, left or right, forward or stay put. There is nothing in between. Life is a series of yeses and nos. If an obstacle is so great that it leads you to say no, it does not mean that your life is over. Observe how your everyday life unfolds, because even there you are unconsciously following this principle. Every day, resistance is there to make you flexible. Flexibility is training your consciousness. But back to our image of the river. As long as you do not communicate with other people, you are, figuratively speaking, merely subject to the whims of the weather. Then it rains on your river, or there is a storm, or the sun shines. In this case, the inflow comes from the weather, i.e., from above. But as soon as you go out into the public and communicate with people, you encounter the rocks, rapids, mountains, and waterfalls that now appear as a result of your movement. This increases the risk of encountering resistance. And every person who goes out into the world to make an impact has to make millions of decisions between the resistance from below in the form of rocks and rapids and the resistance from above in the form of the weather. This is where the yeses and nos of your path begin. Here is a little exercise for you. You have an idea and want to realize it. Mind. You enjoy this energy so much that you concentrate on it to make it even stronger, and this creates a feeling in your body. Now, your free will begins to formulate this idea into a declared, tangible goal. This means you start going out into the world to tell people about your idea and get them excited about it. And now that you're going out into the world, your flow begins. Your idea is a newly created flow, and your goal gives it the direction in which to flow. But as you have already experienced, many laws always interact simultaneously. You have created your flow of ideas, but the nature around it and the laws of nature are predetermined and now interact with your free will to influence these ideas. And so you will meet people who are extremely enthusiastic about your idea, or others who cannot understand your vision at all, who do not like it at all, or who will even try to do everything in their power to prevent you from bringing your idea to life. These are precisely the obstacles of life. And what happens when energies encounter obstacles? They begin to look for other ways. The river does not stop flowing just because a mountain crosses its path or even a waterfall. No, the river changes its path, but not its direction. So people who stand in your way, who do not wish you well, are calling on you to be flexible and to correct your path a little. And at the same time, they are calling on you not to lose sight of your goal. Now, we are touching on the area of power potential again, and that is why I would like to point out briefly that how you react to resistance in your life is also an expression of your power. Of course, it helps immensely if you are already fully aware of your power and talents. In such a case, nothing can deter you from your path. Then, the stones, mountains, or waterfalls seem like pleasant distractions, but they have no effect on your goal. However, if you are not at peace with yourself, it becomes more difficult. Then even small stones will feel like an incredible burden, and a mountain will seem insurmountable. Life is a constant balancing act between yes and no, and every yes and every no will lead to another yes or no. And so it goes on and on. One decision paves the way for the next. Live your life with your heart wide open. Life's trials will never cease to train our muscle consciousness. For in fact, these obstacles are there to test you again and again to see how conscious you already are. They test whether your path and your goal are truly identical with you and your deepest inner self. This is why people who once wanted to bring an idea into the world end up realizing something completely different. This is not a bad thing, because this development is actually part of your journey, allowing it to shape you. This process is so alive that it brings out so much dormant potential within you. So it can happen that the direction and perhaps even the goal can change while you are already well on your journey. The obstacles are like little reflection points that call you to pause and rearrange your path, an appeal to your flexibility. I see this as a wonderful test that you don't need to despair over but can grow from. As you know, we are spiritual beings who are allowed to experience animal feelings in an organism. The ego, as the representative of this animal, will deal with resistance differently than the spiritual being that we are. Thus, there are two basic approaches to this issue: the path of the heart or the path of the mind. Decisions made with the mind lead you to other people, to other situations, and prevent you from recognizing important opportunities in your life as such, because you are distracted and cannot listen to the impulses of your heart. The gate is the perfect regulator when it comes to the obstacles of life, because it not only allows you to recognize them as such at a very early stage, but also always knows how to overcome these challenges. And this brings us back to the realm of opening your heart. Because nothing in the whole world is as strong as the power of your heart. Therefore, you will experience that the more you keep your heart open, the less resistance you will encounter. A person who wants to bring their ideas into the world with an open heart encounters far less resistance than a person who wants to realize their dreams with less passion. Why is that? Quite simply because the willpower that comes from an open heart is a different energy than that which comes from a closed heart. And then we touch on the law of resonance again. People can sense whether someone is doing something wholeheartedly or, in the truest sense of the word, only half-heartedly. And it is, of course, the half-hearted who often encounter more resistance because fate still has to train them. Good old Yoda once said in the movie Star Wars, which was definitely written by a conscious person, "Do or do not. There is no try." And he was right. Because doing means acting because you really want to, but trying is a half-hearted doing. It is not comparable to the power that is available to you when you really want something with all your heart. You see how complex the laws are, how they appear again and again. We are never subject to just one law, but always to all of them. And some of these laws are sometimes more powerful than others, but all in all, they are always active. Just as weightlifting is responsible for strengthening your muscles, every resistance is an incentive for your soul, your heart, and your psyche to develop strength. When you meet people, start to feel them. When you encounter situations, pay attention to your impulses. Pay attention to your feelings. What is your body trying to tell you about this encounter? What does your heart say? What does your gut say? Accept any resistance in your life as such training and use it to reflect on your goal once again and realign your will until it lives from your heart. As long as you don't feel anything when you search for and explore your feelings, you are still too distracted by external circumstances. Then it's up to you to create moments and situations in which you are completely at one with yourself. And when you know exactly how it feels to be completely at one with yourself, try to hold on to that feeling. Try to preserve it. The more you get used to this feeling, the more your soul will remember it. And then you will have reached that point of balance that is so important for receiving impulses correctly. When your heart is open, it recognizes the magic in your life, speaks to you, and urges you to follow it. Your impulses change, and with them, your actions. So, to summarize, the law of resistance shapes the power and thus the flexibility of your consciousness. Consciousness is shaped by the heart. Therefore, be open, be alert, and listen to your impulses. They are the heartbeat of your soul. You can choose between the resistance on the path of the heart or the resistance on the path of the mind. The gate, your heart, is the signpost. And I would like to remind you to join our community Spine. We are a community that wants to help you live a healthier life, practice your spirituality, and expand your consciousness. We help you find and connect with healers around the world, and we help you give your life a new meaning in different ways. We are Spine, connections that help.